My name's Charlie Silver. I'm CEO and one of the founders of Mission Bio. I've been with the company since the early days as we spun it out of UCSF, where the technology originated. And items on my desk. My son is 9 years old and very, very into Legos. And I'm pointing down here to these three little pieces. He's always building these little pieces that he fidgets with during his Zooms for school. And he gives some of them to me and lets me fidget with them also. So there's these three awesome little characters that he made that I keep on my desk that I fidget with also once in a while, just like him. And next to him, I'm actually very proud of this. My chief commercial officer, Darren, gave me this as a present after we just closed the Series C financing. It's a commemorative ginger beer bottle, and it says, "Tough times don't last, tough people do." I'm really proud to have that from Darren. I was born and raised in Denver, and I spent the first 18 years or so of my life there before I moved away to college in New York, where I went to school at Columbia, and then ended up in a graduate program after that at University of Wisconsin, also studying physics. And in both sets at Columbia and Wisconsin, I studied astrophysics because I've always been just curious, excited to know more about how the world works, how we work, how the world around us interacts with how we work. And astrophysics is sort of the ultimate version of that, because you look at what you can measure and understand right here, then you look at what you can measure way, way out there, the faint signal you can pick up, and you interpolate between the two to make a better understanding of what's out there. So I worked on actually initially a project that ultimately ended up on a later generation X-ray telescope that's actually up in space now. I worked on the early versions of that, and then in graduate school I worked on cosmic microwave background, which is a way of looking out at the far edges of the universe and understanding what the first few seconds of the universe look like, again, based on understanding of what we do here. So I've always been really excited at seeing deeper. And that's a thread that I think has carried me through my career from the early days. My last company was a scanning electron microscope, where we democratized electron microscopy by taking these large workhorse imaging instruments and turning it into a little benchtop cube that's affordable, cost effective, with the same performance as the high-end ones, really as a way of anybody, any researcher, material science or life science, seeing more deeply into their sample. And that's what we do at Mission Bio also. I think that's sort of carried me through the years. We help our customers see more deeply into the patient, into the patient's biopsy, and frankly, into ourselves, to understand more deeply how we work and then how disease works. And these measurement tools to help us understand how the world works is something that's always inspired me. Well, I mentioned that my last company was an electron microscope. That one was acquired by Agilent, and I spent a couple of years there, really awesome years of my life, scaling that up and supporting Agilent's build out of the product line. And after that, I wanted to jump into something that really has impact in human health, with an element of the complicated engineering and advanced systems that I've always spent my career building. As a dropped out physicist, I actually started in a PhD program and came out with a master's because I wanted to start building stuff. So as a physics dropout, I feel like I've been sort of trained with breadth across a lot of areas of how things work, different disciplines of science. And that breadth sort of rolls together into complicated systems. And I've always built systems that integrate the very latest and greatest science and engineering, from software to hardware, sometimes silicon components. In this case, it's microfluidics, chemistry, you name it. At Mission Bio, it's got everything in it. And we did the same thing at my last company. And at Mission Bio, I really did want to build in something that pulls together the very latest and greatest engineering with some of the top engineering minds around, which we have at Mission Bio now, into an application set that's got real impact in human health. There's a lot of expenditure in this country and globally into drug development, R&D, some of it which works well. Out of the 60 billion that we spend in R&D money in this country, overall, only 3% of these drugs make it to market. Call it about 10 billion of the 60 really turns into a drug, and the other 50 dissolves and goes nowhere. We believe as a company, and I really do believe, that there is room to amplify the 50 billion that doesn't end up in a drug to make the next generation of drugs much more successful. And that's something that I think is essential for this country because of the way we spend so much money on R&D. And it's essential because of the way health is delivered in this country. It's not a nationalized system. It's really funded by the people. And we believe that technology needs to benefit patients ultimately. And I think the best way to do that is to take that bucket of 50 million that's not turning into drugs and use it to better effect. We as a company are very focused on bringing what's called single cell into real impact across cancer. And what that means is we've built a platform that's really purpose built for enabling pharma drugs to come to market faster. And enabling clinical research to happen faster. We do that by allowing our customers the resolution down to the cell, which is what matters for cancer. Cancer is driven by the cell. Every cell is different, and you've got to look at every cell one by one to really understand what the disease is telling you. So we purpose-built our solution for cancer, and we purpose-built it for the drug companies that are advancing these drugs so we can support them on their mission, as well as the cancer centers that are delivering these as well. And we've built a platform that really is a best-in-class solution for cancer. Single cell has been an emerging market for the last few years. We've looked at that, and we've built the solution that is exactly what cancer needs, with the ability to look not just at every cell, but at every molecule that that cell has to tell you about itself. And over time, our mission is, right from the beginning to enable our customers to eradicate cancer. Everybody is at the company to do that. The technology is purpose built to enable that. And over time, my expectation is that this platform will go everywhere cancer needs. We took the platform out of UCSF in 2014. It had been on the bench for about 3 years before that in the lab of Adam Abate in the bioengineering department, who's still a very close partner to the company. Launched the company in 2014 off this foundational technology that had been breadboarded on the bench. And in life science, there's a mindset across the space, which is nothing new, but I think we've put words to it recently around a lean startup mentality, where you want to take the minimum investment to very quickly figure out what the market needs and then iterate into that based on what the customers are telling you. In life science, that cycle tends to be more challenging, particularly with an advanced genomics platform like what we built with Mission Bio, because of the investment it takes to get to that first minimum viable product that we think of as driving the lean startup. And because of that, the way to short circuit that in life science, which is a mindset we've really built into the company, is to run services early on. So you've got a breadboard platform like the one we took out of UCSF. And as soon as you've got that, if there is a need for the market, you're going to find out very quickly by broadcasting yourself as a service business, running real world samples. So you can validate your hypothesis of what the market wants very quickly, and then figure out which applications the market wants to run on the platform. So we did that from day one. We actually spun the company out with a large contract with J&J, Johnson & Johnson, doing circulating tumor cell analysis. And in co-development support with them, we really shook out all different parameters of what the technology could do. And then that together with other industry contracts later on and all of the government grants that we raised along the way really shook through the platform and built the foundation of the technology, but did it in a mode of running real world samples. So by the time we built the first product, we knew what the market wanted and we built exactly what it wanted. And we've kept that melodies for the platform, build out new applications. We started as a service, as a way to find out whether it's going to work on the platform and where the market really wants us to develop it. So by the time we hit the market, we know exactly where it's going to play. In my case, with Mission Bio, I was looking for a technology to spin out of a university, so the co-founders came with it. I was specifically looking for a technology that had the right founding team, that would be able to either come into the company or continue supporting the company in an academic setting. I have both a business and an engineering background, but I have much less life science background, and I had little microfluidics background, which is the foundation of our technology. So it was very important to align with co-founders who filled in those gaps in my skill set. And I think that's important sort of introspection for any founder who's starting a company. Where are the gaps that need to be filled as you're building it for the first few years? It's important, number one, to find people who align with your mission. And number two, to find people who have the experience needed in any specific role to be able to really build it from the early days. So at Mission Bio, we are a very mission-driven company. We're driven by the mission of helping our customers eradicate cancer. And we hire people who align with that mission, and we've been able to recruit some of the very best because of that. Because who doesn't want to work in a company that's solving one of the biggest problems of our day? Hand in hand with that, we've also always found the very best experience around. And what that means is not necessarily people who've done what we've done exactly, because at a startup, by definition, no one's done it before. But you want to find people who are nimble and agile, who can learn from everything they've done and very quickly apply it here, and very quickly learn what's working and what's not working and how to iterate from there. So experience in our market, experience in our technology is important, especially experience in product development. That coupled with an agile mindset, someone who not only knows their experience, but knows what they don't know and how they can fill in their gaps, along with a real kind of driver up against our mission. Those are all the requirements for us. The best advice I've been given, and I'm going to give this advice right back because I've learned this lesson along the way, is to go where your passion is and to go where your impact will be. Every one of us as individuals has a unique history that enables us to have a certain impact. And there's a lot of different directions that impact can go. So it's a matter of aligning, where do you see yourself having your biggest impact in a way that aligns with your personal history and your own experiences. And the biggest advice, honestly, given to me, and the same advice that I would give to anyone, is to align the startup with whatever that passion is for you and wherever you see that impact headed. Think not so much about where you want your career to go, but think about the impact that you can have. I think all of us along the way are just given so much resource, and so much support along the way, that it's a matter of kind of filtering through that and understanding who we are, who you are deeply as a person, where your strength is, and then based on that, where you think you can serve the best impact. We're all on this planet for such a short time. We all in some way want to make sure we use what we've given to deliver the best impact while we're here. And with that as a North Star to career decisions or company building, I think that's the number one driver of success. In my life, I've sort of gone through cycles where I read through the entire Steinbeck work. I've always been a huge fan of Steinbeck. He rolls together themes that have, been in Western literature for thousands of years. He rolls them together into more of a modern view that sort of built the foundation of, honestly, of who we are as a country now, because he lived not far from Silicon Valley, and a lot of the views that went into it, if you really dig into his reading, are very relevant to what we're doing right now, here and now, today in Silicon Valley. So in my life, I've sort of gone through these cycles of rereading his works, and I've done that again recently during the pandemic. Two of my favorites sort of bookend his work, with To a God Unknown, which is one of his earliest works, through to East of Eden, which came out right after Grapes of Wrath. That's one of his latest ones, and East of Eden is one of my favorite books ever. I'm passionate about having an impact in cancer and enabling drugs that will improve cancer patients' lives. And I'm passionate about my family.